you for our many blessings here in Danville, Kentucky. Be with our first responders, our fire department, our police department, the medical community, and our armed forces as they keep our community safe. Help us to make good decisions today for the betterment of our community and treat each other and all the people here with respect. Amen.
To the commission, Mr. Chairman, this is just a reminder to make sure your microphone's lighted up green when you're speaking today.
How's that?
I can hear it.
All right, we'll call to order a meeting of Danville Boyle County Planning Zoning, October 26, 2022. I think this would be a good time to welcome our new director,
Thank you.
Michaela Jerry. We're so glad to have you here, and welcome.
Thank you. Look forward to working with you all.
First order of business, approval of minutes.
I'll move we approve the minutes.
Second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Manning and a second from Commissioner Boyd to approve the minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Financial report?
Yeah, I'll just do a quick summary. There's really nothing to talk about on the balance sheet, the first page, but if you flip to the statement of account activities, first of all, we're 25% through the year. We're a quarter of the way through the year. So if you look at the percentages, 25% would be right on budget. But to start out, if you look at at the top under budget 22-23, you can see our beginning balance is $90,741. That has been updated to reflect the results of our audit. So the final results of the audit have been incorporated into the beginning balance for this year. If you go down and take a look at about halfway down the page at total commission revenue, you can see we're at 28% of the total year budget. So we're actually a little over budget from a pace standpoint compared to where we would be if we were only 25% through the year. Then if you go down under expenses, you'll see that total personnel costs are 17% of total year budget. Of course, we're below there because we haven't had a director for a couple of months. And then if you just flip the page and go to total expenses on the bottom to the right, you can see our total expenditures are 19% of our total year budget, which again is below the 25% pace number, and also due primarily because we have not had a director's salary. So any questions or comments on the
So the
statement
19%
activities?
really is because of the salary and the director's
Yeah,
leaving?
correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, do we have a motion?
Yeah, we need a motion to approve, to accept.
I make a motion to accept.
We have a motion from Commissioner Collier
Second.
and a second, Commissioner Davenport. All in favor? Motion passes, unanimous. Construction sureties, Lisa?
Next, we have our construction sureties for October 2022. There's no changes on it from last month, and no action is required.
I see the Jody Sharp construction one, project status is 12/1/22. We haven't been approached about extending that or changing that for the sidewalks? That's the first sidewalks in the upper group, letters of credit. I'm just noting that there's several coming up in December.
No, we haven't been approached by it yet, but Jody's, as far as I know, his sidewalks are just about done, especially in Hunt Farm. So we'll probably have them done and I'll have to extend the letter of credit.
Okay.
But I haven't heard anything from him on them.
All right. Look forward to see that next time.
comments? All right, we'll move on. Subdivision approvals.
Subdivision approvals. First, we have Derek Lynch. He's applied for the subdivision of a 1.376 acre parcel of land. It's known as 626 Waterworks Road in Boyle County. The property is zoned ag, and this plat creates Lot A, which is 0.226 acres, from the parent tract of Rihanna Lynch, and it leaves approximately 56 acres in her tract, and then combines that Lot A with the 1.150 acre lot of Derek Lynch to create Lot 1A, containing 1.376 acres total. The plat's technically correct and is ready for final approval. The next plat we have is Valerie Isom has applied for the subdivision of a 3.32 acre parcel of land known as 3290 Harrisburg Road in Carrollville. The property is zoned ag. This plat creates a 3.32 acre parcel from the parent tract of Robert Bird and is to be conveyed to Miss Isom, who is their daughter. Suggestions were made for corrections of a purpose statement to be added, a tract or lot number to be added, and a note indicating the acres that lie within Boyle County and acres that lie within Mercer, since this is on the line. So this plat is ready for final approval with those corrections. Next, we had LMD Holdings, LLC. They've applied for the subdivision of a 269.567 acre parcel of land known as 1695 Lancaster Road, Danville. The property is zoned ag, R1A, and highway business, and light industrial. The plat consolidates multiple properties and redivides it into tract A at 264.636 acres and tract B at 4.931 acres. And the tract B being the one that we have a site plan for here in the next little bit. The plat is technically correct and is ready for final approval. And lastly, we have William Larry Ourgan and his wife. They've applied for the subdivision of a 1.539 acre tract of land known as 0 Ward's Branch Road in Brackle Switch. The property is zoned ag, and this plat creates tract A from the Ourgan parent tract. A non-conforming note is required for the barn on the tract that sits within the setback. With that correction, the plat's ready for final approval.
Thank you, Lisa. Any discussion?
The tech committee reviewed these. They haven't changed since that time. It looks like they're exactly, if I remember right, there's no changes since we reviewed these earlier this month?
No.
Okay. I didn't see anything, so. Is there any concern with approving the distillery, LMD Holdings, and doing that paperwork now? Because later we have a site plan. They're not linked. I think they're separate items.
They're
Okay.
separate items, and no, this is, Kendall actually did the plat, and basically it's just there's several of the tracts were by deed. So he surveyed it, it's all platted out, he's got all of the varying zoning districts noted on the plats, so.
Okay.
There's no
Commissioner Collier, I don't think there's any difficulty separating out and approving in two steps subdivision versus use.
Right,
So-
I could not see it either. I'm just asking the obvious question, since we are this particular LMD, and then we have a site plan of an LMD later. They
Right.
are two separate tasks for us to do.
Right.
Okay.
All right, we need a motion to approve subdivision approvals.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Commissioner Collier has made a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Commissioner Manning has second. Any discussion? All in favor? Passes unanimous. All right, public hearing, LMD Holdings LLC have applied for a site plan amendment on the property known as 1695 Lancaster Road, Danville, for the addition of a 10,800 square foot commercial structure. And we'll, please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Kendall Wise, Vantage Engineering. And the project, we've been talking about this project a lot for many years, it seems like. But this addition to the property will be the new distillery building, and it's the first of 2 distillery buildings that will be built. This is phase 1, or it will be a standalone building, but in the future, he anticipates building a much bigger distillery between where this distillery is located, this building's located, and the Crow, the historic home that's on the property. So this is just the first step in him creating production of, bourbon in Danville. And obviously last year they constructed the first warehouse for storing it, and he intends to continue with that, or increase his pace in terms of building rick houses, but that will, just get the distillery going and hopefully open in the middle of next year. And I'm sure I'll be back here early next year with plans for additional rick houses.
The second distillery plant, that's not part of the site plan today?
It's not part of this application, no.
Okay. Is
And
it,
the only reason, there's a power line, there's a 3-phase power line that's going to be a pretty big undertaking to relocate. We have a plan with KU about how that's going to happen. And the project, if you knew the whole concept and how it keeps changing, we don't want to show too much
I don't.
because we will have to change it, because
I
the
agree with you.
project
If
changes
it's
every
not firm,
time
don't
we have a
do it,
meeting.
but yes, I'm just
But-
asking.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but yeah, it's,
if it's not part of that. The grain bins that are located there are slightly out of the main track area on there. It doesn't, you've got them located on here, on the site plan. Will, any chance that they'll need to move at this point, or do you?
no, they should not.
Okay,
They'll serve, the grain bins will serve the current rick house as well as the future, or the planned distillery as well as the future distillery. So we're showing, I forget how many bins, silos. There won't be as many silos installed initially just to serve the craft distillery building, but, ultimately that's the area where all.
okay, that was what, so it's a,
Silos will be located.
what you have listed here is the ultimate plan, but it will evolve and grow to that level, is what you're saying, okay?
Yeah.
I noticed that the buildings, the house, the old house positions now on this plot, or the plan, and a couple of other outbuildings are on the plan. Is that down toward the center of the plat itself?
Yeah.
There's arrangement on there. I drove by it and was trying to recognize what these particular ones are. Does that include
They're just existing.
their existing buildings on there? Yeah, it's in the center area.
Right.
Yeah, those are just existing buildings on there?
They're mainly just barns that will be demolished and removed eventually.
At this point, they're there, that's correct. Okay.
Kendall, can you explain to them the things that you changed from the initial site plan? The parking, the things that we talked about? They have just the original version.
I see.
Yeah, I don't have
So
a,
yes, during the technical review meeting, we talked about going ahead and adding the parking requirements for an industrial use. So I've updated a plan with new parking. And you have the new plan, don't you, Lisa? Okay.
Josh does, but I don't.
So in my office, I have a plan that shows, I think, 8 new parking stalls on the south side of the building. And it describes because the craft distillery building it'll only employ, at most 6 people.
Oh, is it?
But, so we have
You were leading one of the questions, how big is this structure? The building takes a lot of
It is a big
space.
structure, but it doesn't,
It-
it's
The
most-
number of people and head
Right.
count is relatively small.
That's right.
Okay, that's where the parking
So-
comes from, Lisa.
So we've shown some parking stalls there in the paved area south of the building.
Fire hydrants, I think.
I added a fire hydrant at the Rick House.
Mhm.
The existing Rick House, there's a new fire hydrant added. There's an existing fire hydrant at Letton Drive. There will be a valve vault with a fire hose connection, a riser there that they can connect fire hoses to at the distillery building.
Are there rick houses on both sides of that driveway?
There
Eventually?
are planned to be in the
On the north
future,
side and the
yes.
south side? Or, I think it's north and south. Okay. And all the industrial bottling area is in that center area here, is future things at this point. It's
It will
subject to
likely be
changing. Yeah.
Yes, there will likely be a separate building that's just for bottling.
Well, and what I was getting to is that we've got multiple zoning on this plot. You got agricultural, you got light industrial arrangements on here. But at this point, if it goes outside the light industrial zone, we'll come back for another for a zoning
It
adjustment.
would have to be a zone change,
Okay.
yes.
Those are kind of the efforts and steps, and you're familiar with them, I know.
Yes. And a big part of this project will be something different than industrial. It will be more of a touristy, commercial type project. And that's all going to happen to the north and to the west.
East or the
East.
west? Downtown or
Midwest.
downtown or out of the county?
Away from downtown.
Okay, east side of the structure there, okay. Because when you drive on 52, which is the road at the bottom, it is, you can see the buildings, but until we had cars parked there yesterday, I didn't realize how large that Rick House was. It is huge if you haven't been out there, and there's going to be, what was there, 8 total, if I remember right, original plan? It could be something that by the time it grows. Okay,
Have they started on anything?
They've started grading for this distillery.
I remember seeing, was it yesterday or Monday, a celebration of the kickoff, the digging process. They had a little
Yes,
get-together.
Yesterday, there were about 100 people there
Yeah.
for a groundbreaking.
I've never seen the road, the driveway filled up with cars until then. It's usually not that busy. Okay.
Okay.
I couldn't find I didn't see any issues on the paperwork at this point.
And I've been working with the city. I just met with Marshall before the meeting, and Josh was out there, but they've signed the plat. There's a place on the plat for signatures from the city engineer. They've signed the plat. There's nothing that has to be signed on the site plan other than I guess, in your office, they have to sign off on
They
it.
don't have to sign.
Okay.
I just need that copy.
Okay. Well, We've gotten everyone happy with the plans for sewer and water. There are some contracts that the city's going to want us to sign, want the owner to sign related to stormwater and sanitary sewer discharge. But, so those are the last approvals from the city that we'll be needing. But for the purpose of what we're doing today, we're good to go with.
There are some properties that around this LMD. I haven't seen any comments from anybody else, and obviously there's no other people here to comment one way or the other. Nobody reached out to you about concerns?
No.
Okay.
Many of the neighboring property owners were there yesterday for the groundbreaking. I mean, they're supportive, and I don't know,
Okay.
maybe just hoping that someday Francesca will buy their property or something. I don't know.
It's possible.
Was wondering if you could help me by reminding him that he does need to come in and get his permit before he goes on with that green.
Yes, Dawson Harkey's doing the construction of the distillery, and they're local, and they're familiar with it.
Mhm.
Any
Doing
other
things the right way.
questions for the applicant? Any other statements that you care to make?
No.
Okay. Since this is a public hearing, we have to hear both sides. So at this time, if anyone here is in opposition to this site plan, please come forward. Seeing none, anyone who's in favor can also come forward. Seeing none, we'll proceed. I guess this time we can close the hearing for discussion. If there's any other discussion amongst the commissioners.
And we're on a site plan arrangement, we just have to approve it? Is that what the criteria is?
That's correct.
It's not-
It's kind of a lower burden than amendment to a general development plan. I would just suggest that if you're inclined to make a motion to approve, that you condition it upon the revisions that technical review requested.
Yes, okay. I'd like to make a motion that we approve it with the inclusion of the technical review revisions that we've completed.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Collier and Commissioner Boyd seconds the motion. Any further discussion on it? All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. Thank you, Kendall.
Thank you.
New business. Personnel Committee report. We have an interim director we need to fire.
You know what I say? Praise God. Praise God. Everybody's been wonderful. I thank you for the short time I've been here. Everybody's been great. I don't know what I'd do without Lisa. Lisa's
Gary,
the one that just kept me out of trouble.
we
So I
appreciate-
thank God for that.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate you serving your community and serving this commission. Thank you for your time and efforts very much.
It was wonderful to serve. Thank you.
There's a shortage of gold, so we couldn't get a gold watch for you. But there's a clock on the wall over there. So again, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, it might be, I don't know if you're going to do this, it might be appropriate to make a motion relieving the interim director of his duties and thanking him for his service.
Okay, we can do that. Can I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
All right, we have a motion
Second it.
and a second. Thanking our interim for his duties to plan zoning and community. Thank you, and we will relieve you of those responsibilities at this time.
And the only thing I've got left is tomorrow at 10:30, we're meeting with the mayor and the judge executive at the courthouse.
Great.
And that was a request from those two, and so we're gonna do that.
Great.
Have you already been presented to the magistrates?
I have not. I've only met with city commission at this time.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're a good crowd too, so you'll enjoy it.
Do we need any type of a motion to rescind the temporary authorities given to Jeff and myself in the absence of a director, or does those just expire with the bringing on board of Michaela?
That's a good point, Commissioner Mann, and maybe we could amend Commissioner Davenport's motion to include relieving you all of your duties as well, and then call that question. Is that acceptable to you to amend your motion? So now we're relieving the interim director of his duties, as well as the interim functions served by Commissioners Mann and Chairman Baird, and thanking the interim director for his service. That's the motion.
Okay.
Commissioner Manning, do you second the motion to relieve yourself?
No, I will resecond the motion.
All right. So, we need a vote. All in favor of the motion? Motion passes unanimously. All right, thank you. Finance Committee report. Sir, do we have a report?
No, there's no report.
Any other new business? Let's see, discuss revising November 23rd meeting date. Take it, that's the day before Thanksgiving. All right, I think we did something similar last year.
Are we going to have the same problem in December, when we get ready to do a December meeting typically?
I think I looked at it yesterday, calendar I sent to you. I don't think
Yeah.
December was an issue. I can't remember what it was though. 28?
Yeah.
Yeah, and, well, I was just going to, I entertain, or talk out loud, whether or not we typically have a tech review meeting on that second Wednesday, whether or not we could combine the two November, December as a single meeting.
That is what we did last year.
Because the dates in between Christmas and New Year is not really, it's difficult to get people to come, but it's a question whether we think that's slowed down enough. That was where I was talking to you earlier about, are the requests, or our paperwork is it slowing down? It looks like some of the money coming in is slowed down.
I think that would be great if we could combine the two.
I'm tending to think so. I realize you have to have enough notification to
Right.
do that. And it might behoove us to,
So that'd be the 16th or the,
Do we want to just have it on the Wednesday, or normal Wednesday, do tech review on Wednesday, or we want to have it on that Tuesday?
well, I was going to suggest that we have a tech review 30 minutes prior to the meeting itself. That's all I was going to suggest.
The 13th of December?
That's reasonable to me.
oh, so we're doing it in December.
Take the November, put it in December, in that 13th of December. Is that too
I
late?
think that's too long, too far ahead.
No, I'm just trying to get, so we're not gonna have not gonna have the November meeting or the December. We're gonna combine them and do them on 13th. It's fine with me.
I don't think there's a local social event that day that's going to cause an issue on there.
So we'll do a special call for 9:30.
Is that gonna be on a Wednesday again?
Actually, that would be a Tuesday. We can do it the 14th, we can do it the Wednesday.
I didn't know whether or not the room was available.
Review.
I didn't know whether you needed to know whether the room was available or not. That's the other part when you move away from,
Wednesday.
Oh, I'm getting some requests to keep it on Wednesday.
On Wednesday, okay, so the 14th, December 14th. And like I said, we'll do tech review prior to, so we'll start the meeting at 9:30 or 10 o'clock.
You just have your people get in touch with our people and let us know.
All right.
yeah, I can't imagine we couldn't get tech review done in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
All right, we need a motion to change the November and December meeting date.
I'll make a motion, we combine the November and December meetings into a single meeting, which would be on Wednesday, December 14th, and it would be preceded by a tech review session.
Does that
We
work
have a
for you
motion.
guys?
And a second.
We have a discussion going on here, so let's make sure we catch up. Are you-
And
Am I looking at the wrong year? I'm seeing 14. It's on Thursday.
Uh,
You're right, you're right. This one's 14's on Wednesday.
Okay, yeah. So you're fine? We're just checking.
Okay, we have a motion and discussion. And, yeah, we have a motion from Commissioner Manning, a second from Commissioner Boyd.
We're just clarifying to make sure we know the dates and things. So,
And I know I don't have.
We discussion.
like, But can there be an out to that if something comes in business-wise, that if you do need to get together, you can get together?
You can call a special meeting whenever you want, but
Okay,
you got to be careful about your public notifications. If it's one of those for a zoning
okay.
or request, you got to have 2 weeks.
A
So
long time
basically,
ago,
we're
we got
having-
in trouble because we did this, and then somebody had something that was pressing.
Yes, that's the risk you run into.
That's the risk that we run into of, and it has a look like it looks like this is a convenience thing, when it's really not. You know, right now, it doesn't look, Rusty said yesterday, things were slowing down.
Things are slowing down,
Yeah.
the rising of the interest rate has really knocked things down quite a bit. The only things that we ever have to advertise are site plans, zone changes, flame changes. We've had no mention
Yeah.
of any of that coming in. We usually have.
So right now, we're postponing November's for 2 weeks, and we're doing December's 2 weeks early, so if anybody, it may be a little rush for people to get stuff in for December, but they've got 2 months now to.
And we're still going to do the November tech meeting, which is that earlier on the 9th of November anyway. We were still going to do that, right?
No, we won't have to if we're not having November's meeting.
But that was
Oh, no,
not, that was
no,
not
I'm
public
sorry.
anyway.
Yes, I'm sorry, you're
Yeah.
correct. I'm sorry, yeah.
The reason I say that is it gives you the opportunity to take on site reviews or for that particular plat reviews, which we can do. Even though we do that review and tech meeting, and even though we bring it here in this larger meeting, don't
Why
have
do we
to.
need to do a tech review for a meeting we're not having?
It's just a monthly duty.
Well, why would we have tech review before the meeting?
That would be the tech review for December that we didn't, that we're not.
That would be the December meeting that we're having that day, so.
What I'm getting to is that, is there something in the tech review that we might need to approve that does not require this committee to approve? You're right. I don't know that there is, but
Help me, Henry.
If this commission doesn't need to approve it, I don't think that it merits tech review's time.
because we do bring in submission approvals, subdivision approvals in this meeting at times.
Actually, I mean, we could do preliminary and final
Yes,
on the 14th.
Right.
Not,
We've done that before.
yeah.
and not worry about trying to do tech at all.
What I was trying to do is get clarification. Are we having the November 9th tech review meeting, or are we not? That's what I'm trying to get clarification.
Because we're postponing the November 23rd meeting to December the
Yes.
14th.
The dates
Exactly.
wouldn't work out for us to do it that way if we move the meeting, because the deadlines for them to turn in their plats wouldn't line up.
Yes,
So it'd probably be better if we did just skip it and do the preliminary and final at the meeting.
yeah. And we go back to our typical schedule in January anyway.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right.
This might be a good chance to reach out to engineers that we know and just let them know about the schedule change.
I guess that would be the only thing you'd want to do is make it like Kendall Wise, ask his crowd, for example, or the other ones.
Right.
This is what we're doing, is that just so they recognize that this is what we're planning to do?
I'll send notice to all of them.
Okay. So it doesn't, what we're talking about doesn't hurt our motions at all, but I believe that still
So are
exists.
we still waiting for a vote?
Yeah.
We got a
Yes.
motion, and discussion?
Yep.
All right. All in favor? So we're moving the meeting to the 14th,
Yes.
December and
And
November.
we will make it at 9.
Well,
Since
so
we're
we-
not having, yes, our regular time, since we're not having
We've
TRS.
got some serious discussion in here today.
9:30,
Mm,
9 o'clock.
which it states on it very clearly, 9 o'clock.
All right, with no further ado, if there's any announcements that need to be made,
Wouldn't we need tech review on the day of that December meeting?
Yes.
I thought that's what we were doing.
That tech review would be for January, what?
No. I need a tech review meeting prior to the meeting, our commission meeting on that
Well, we wouldn't
14th,
if we're doing preliminary and final
during the meeting.
during the meeting.
Okay, that's how she's addressing that.
Because if I tried to do TRS, we'd have to move the date of
Correct.
TRS to give them the proper time to turn everything in, and so it probably just.
We're
worked
just,
out better.
we're drawing it into the same meeting.
Okay.
it may take a few more minutes to go through the actual paperwork when you're sitting here.
So what happens if there's needs to be changes in technical review, and it's gonna happen
It'll
30 minutes
be-
before the meeting?
The approval will be contingent upon them making the changes.
Follow-ups,
And possibly tabling something if the changes
Yeah.
are too drastic to be.
if they're too dramatic, yes. Yeah. I don't know that historically, that you've ever run into that I don't know.
Rare.
Okay. And I agree with you, the situation of the economy and the activities is just going to slow it down anyway. Slow those types of requests down.
And like Gary said, if anything did come in that was pressing, we can always do a special call, although with advertising, I doubt it would get on much quicker than planned, but.
Well, I like the fact that we're gonna let everybody know that, what the plan is. And
Right.
They can know that too.
I think we're early enough that anybody walks in, you just point out, tell them that
We could put
we'll
a
work the
sign
schedule.
up. They can track it down on the website. They can figure that out.
And nobody tell Mr. Ruby he'll be here. So,
Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn? We have a motion to adjourn, have a second. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for attending.